All right, get ready, guys. All right. All right.
Okay.
We are live.
We are live.
Hey, welcome back to Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3. Nate is back up on the Splatoon deck, but with some very, very special guests. I'm here with Rob Tunstall, who will be translating for development staff, Mr. Nogami, Mr. Sakaguchi, and Mr. Sato. And I was hoping, just to start off, maybe you guys could talk a little bit about your roles in the game, and then maybe just a little bit about the game itself for those people who haven't already tuned in to Splatoon.
Hello, my name is Nogami. I'm producer of Splatoon.
Hi, I'm Sakaguchi, director.
Hi, I'm Sato, lead programmer.
はい。じゃあ、簡単にこのゲームを説明しますと、このゲームは4対4の2つのチームに分かれて、インクを発射して陣地を塗って、その陣地の広さで勝敗を決するっていうゲームです。
So if I were to explain this game simply, I'd say that it's a game where you compete in two 4-on-4 teams, spraying ink around, trying to cover as much territory as possible, and the team that covers the most territory wins.
Yes, that's it. But, well, why don't we get into some details about it? I think, and you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the best way to do this is I'll just jump in, do a really brief tutorial on how the controls work, and then maybe we could turn it over to somebody a little bit more competent, like maybe Mr. Sato after that. Yeah, I'll jump in.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so this will probably be pretty familiar to anybody who's been tuning into this stream from early on because they can't get me off this station. I tend to come up here and hang out next to Splatoon a lot. But for anybody who hasn't seen the other streams, let me just really briefly go over how this works. So gamepad is your map. It shows you in real time where the ink is, and when you come up, you basically want to just start spraying ink everywhere. Very simple controls. You move around with the L stick, move your view around with the R stick, and this is the most important button you have, the R trigger. Spray everywhere. Now, note that with the L button, I go down and I turn into ink form. You don't see me in the ink, but check this out. All right, that's me in squid form. Obviously, I'm very, very visible. I need a little bit of cover. And here, I move much faster. So we talked about the controlling turf. The most important bit of this is not only spraying the ground so that you can control it, and as you can see on the lower screen, controlling the map to win, but also it makes your movement around the map much easier when you're squidding. All right. I'm gonna cruise up here. Now, normally there'd be people mobbing this area, but I've told everybody to stand down because otherwise I'm just gonna get murdered out here. Cruise around. You can see, look at my mobility when I'm a squid. All right. Super weapon, as you load it up. Oh, and actually, I think my gyro controls are off. I'm trying to show some, hey, can you switch to gyro on the fly? Yeah.
That button in the top left, you should be able to switch it.
Right.
There you go.
Motion controls on. So this, as you can see, if you don't want to play with motion controls, you don't have to. But I got to say, and I don't know if you guys could tell when I was just doing that, I kind of sucked at it. And to be honest, I really need the fine control of the gyro. Just slight wrist motions are making me move this thing around. And when you're spraying ink, it is all the difference in the world. You're not doing the sort of herky-jerky movements of just using the right stick. But then again, you know, there may be some people out there who just don't want to move their wrists around and they're going to use only motion controls. All right, let me get up here. R button throws out splatter bombs. That uses up a lot of ink, and I just threw it in the worst possible place because that is non-splatterable floor. You can paint the walls. This helps you climb up, and you can actually hide up there for a second. That does not count to your total, so if you're actually just trying to claim territory, it really doesn't help. All right. I'm gonna try to do my little skateboard ollie here. X button makes you jump. You can obviously do that when you're in squid form or in inkling form. These little guys, we're calling them inklings. Super cute. All right. Also, another benefit of being a squid is that you can move through grates. Vertical grates, grates that are on the ground. It's the only way that you can get through it is by splattering the ground with more and more ink. All right. All right, I'm clearly not going to be competent enough at this. So for an actual round, I want to bring in Mr. Sato, who I believe is pretty unmatched in the Splatoon world.
Mr.
Yeah. Sato-san?
Mr. Sato is the best player in the world currently.
Yes.
Well, he says he was until Monday, but maybe not anymore.
So Mr. Sato is going to be probably showing us some pretty advanced moves that we can comment as we're going on. But as we do, I also want to just take the opportunity. We don't have that much time with these guys. I want to pick their brains a little bit about stuff that I certainly wasn't able to get into when we were talking about it earlier. First of all, I want to hear about how they were inspired to create these characters and this game mode.
すごく理由は単純なんですけども、インクを出すからイカです。
I mean, the main reason is actually just very, very simple. I mean, they shoot ink, so we thought they should be squids.
でも理由はそれだけではなくて、インクの中に隠れて素早く動いたりとか、このインクの中をどこまでも泳いでいけるので、こういう性能がイカというキャラクターとすごくマッチしていると考えています。
But there's more to it than that. I mean, just the fact that, they're able to swim very quickly throughout the ink and they're able to, traverse a great deal of ground through it quickly. All of those kind of abilities that we gave to the player really matched the idea of having the characters be squids.
あと小さいところで言えば、なぜタコでないかというと、マップのアイコンがイカだと矢印で分かりやすいんです。
And this is a small point, but someone might ask, well, why aren't they octopuses? Well, squids have a nice arrow shape, so when you see the icon on the map, you can tell what direction they're going in.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. I mean, one of the things that I was talking about yesterday that I love about this game is that the squid aesthetic is everywhere. What you just talked about with the arrow, but also like the little tentacle shapes on the loading screen. I really love how they've carried it all the way through. Yeah, that's right.
And he's got some on his shirt.
Where are we giving? Oh
プレイ
man.
するまではなんでイカなんだろうってみんな思うと思うんですが、一度プレイしてもらえたら、おこれはもうイカしかないとみんなに思ってもらえると思います。
Yeah. I mean, I think before people play this game, they're probably thinking, why are they squids? But I think anytime someone actually picks up this game and plays it, they realize, oh, squids, it has to be
Yeah,
squids.
of course. And we just
ロ
saw.
ケ
Oh
ットを
yeah.
噴射して飛び出すっていう動きもイカならではだと思います。
Yeah, and I think you just saw him do a big kind of squid jump, that kind of rocket shape, and I think that also, that's something that only really fits with a squid design.
Yeah, yeah.
僕はこんなイカ見たことないですけど、
I mean, I haven't actually ever seen a squid exactly like that in real life, but still.
I bet they do that underwater, and when they shoot their ink out, it just kind of propels them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they probably wouldn't get as much vertical height out of the water, but
Maybe.
We'll suspend our disbelief. That is an important point, though. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but the launching mechanic, where you can launch right up to where your friends are, or launch back to base at any given time, is really, really crucial in this game, especially as you're watching in real time on your map. What's going on with the game balance, where the ink is being spread. Oh.
だからスーパージャンプはクイズみたいなものと考えてください。
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of think about how to use the super jump as kind of a little bit of a quiz.
敵の色のところに仲間はいるけど、向こうの方にいる敵の色の上の仲間に行くか、そんなに向こう側でない自分の陣地の近くだけど自分の色で安全なところの仲間に行くか、あなたはどっちに行きますか？
Yeah, it's kind of like you look at the map and you'll see you've got, okay, I got one friend who's kind of... Oh, they lost. But you might look at the map and you see you got one friend who's kind of in enemy territories where there's a lot of enemy ink. You got another friend who's somewhere where there's a lot of your own color ink. Maybe you got another friend where there's not much ink on the ground, and you got to think, which place should I go? It kind of works as like a quick little quiz. You got to make a decision right away.
Yeah, I've made a wrong decision many times where I jump to the front lines.
でも例えば残り10秒だったら違いますよね。
Yeah, but the whole thing changes if, for example, there's only like 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
でそういう風にその DRC のタッチパネル、ゲームパッドのタッチパネルにリアルタイムに塗りが更新されて、すぐにタッチして自分の決断が良かったのか良くなかったのかフィードバックを得られるっていうところがこのゲームの面白さをダイレクトに使える要素だと思っています。
And I think, that's something that really gets across very directly what's fun about this game, because you have that constantly changing information, and because that squid jump is such a direct action, you get like instant feedback on whether you made a bad decision or a good decision.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
you know right away.
Yeah.
こういうのを難しい言葉で戦略って言うと思うんですけども、 次に例えば1回敵にやられてリスポーン地点に戻された時に次にどういう行動を取ろうっていうのを自然に考えるのがこのゲームの楽しいところだと思っています。
And I think another thing that's great about this game is like, we can talk about it in this detail and use kind of like, talk about it as if it's kind of a very difficult thing. But just that whole action of like, when you get defeated, going back to your base and then looking at the map and making that decision, it all just feels very, very natural.
Yeah.
もうカッコつけて喋ってるんですけど、実際やるときは
I mean, we're kind of acting kind of cool about when we talk, but like when we actually play it, we get into it. We're just pounding on the screen trying to get to where we want to go.
Thankfully, we make very durable gamepads, so. Yeah, you can hammer on as hard as you want. I agree, and something just to piggyback on that, what's awesome about this game is there's not a complicated interface where you're looking at percent. There's no numbers showing you the percent of the map that's getting covered. All you're seeing is this very visual, like this is where the ink is. 2 colors. You have to instantly analyze that and see exactly where you are in the match and what has to be done.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Something we didn't get. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
先の判断をするときに一瞬で情報が認識できるっていうのはすごく大事だと思います。
Yeah, and I think when you're making decisions like that, the ability to understand, how the battle is developing just at a glance becomes super, super important.
Yeah. This little thing, we didn't point this out yesterday, but that little spiral that goes around your player, what does that mean?
あれは仲間が自分をタッチして飛んできてくれる時のサインです。
That's a sign that someone has touched you on the gamepad and they're coming flying to your location.
And is that identified? It said player 8 on that, means player 8 is coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, player 8 is coming to your rescue.
前線に自分一人だけでみんなやられちゃった時に隠れて潜んでいると、その時にサインが出ると、仲間が来てくれるって言ってすごく嬉しくなります。
So let's say everyone else on your team is defeated. You're right up at the front lines. You're hiding in your own little patch of ink. That sign starts spinning around you. You realize, oh, all my friends are coming.
About to get...
You start to feel really good.
Surrounded by enemies. That's right.
Yeah.
I haven't even been paying attention. Are they winning? How are they doing? Oh, that's actually a pretty tight match. Yeah, this is going to come down to it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
すごく楽しいんです。
There you go.
That little moment right before they go, that's the best part.
I have to say, we've gotten a lot of questions about this cat. Who is this cat?
Top secret.
Oh, that's the top secret cat.
Do you need that translated, Nate?
No, I got that.
Okay.
I got that. My Japanese is getting really good.
Yeah, you're doing great, Nate.
Oh, this actually, now that we're panning over this reminds me of another thing I wanted to ask. The environments in this, it's for Nintendo games, we're used to seeing really sort of happy-go-lucky mushrooms with faces and clouds and stuff. These are, I don't want to call it a gritty environment, but it's a very sort of urban environment. Was that a conscious, choice on their part because you're splattering ink?
もうこのインクを塗るっていう遊び自体が簡単に言うと結構いたずらっぽい遊びだと思っています。
I mean, just that kind of act of like spraying the ink around, it's kind of a little bit like, like graffiti or like vandalism,
that's what I was saying.
right? A little bit.
街中のこの一角をもう好きなようにペンキをぶちまけていいよって言ったらもうみんな喜んでぶちまける。
I mean, like if someone just came up to you in the street and was just like, "Hey, you can take this paint and throw it around however you like."
It would be kind of awesome.
I think everyone would like to do that.
Sanctioned vandalism. That's.
そういう手応えを出すためにはやっぱり自分たちがある程度見慣れた風景を塗ってる方がすごく手応えが出ると思ってこういう背景です。
And so to bring about that same kind of feeling, we thought, well, we should probably make this some kind of setting that looks at least a little bit more familiar or more real.
Yeah, it does. I every time I watch it, I see some other little detail, like there's little like chalk drawings of like kind of squids on the walls or like little logos everywhere. It's just very well realized.
Yeah.
この世界の人はきっとそういうことが大好きなんだと。
Yeah, we think, definitely the people who inhabit this world, these guys, they definitely love what they're doing.
ちなみにこのインクは多分3分ぐらい経ったら全部消えてしまうインクです。
But for whatever reason, this is like special ink, I guess, that just disappears after 3 minutes.
That's good.
Yeah, it's very environmentally friendly.
That's good. That's important. Hey, so I actually had a question about this yesterday. That little 16p. So obviously people are getting judged on their points at the end of all this. How exactly are the points getting accrued? And like when somebody splatters right in front of you, what determines whether or not that's 9 or 16 or 20? I mean,
あれは敵を倒したポイントではなくて敵をやっつけたことによって結果床が塗られたポイントなんです。なのでもともと自分の色の上の敵をやっつけてもポイントはあまり入らないです。
So those points you get are not directly points that you get for defeating an enemy. It's actually because when you defeat an enemy, they explode in your own ink color. So, you know, the amount of ground that was either newly painted or painted over.
Oh, that's what that number is.
So for that reason, if you defeat someone on your own ink color, it doesn't really have an effect. You don't really get
But
any
on
points.
there, okay.
どれだけこの床を塗ったかっていうのが全ての基準です。
So really, it all just comes back to how much of the ground did you cover in ink.
You can see here, Mr. Sato just jumped back to his base and is now just taking care of homekeeping. Well, that's so that was a lot of points. Super weapon.
世界ナンバーワンなんですかね、彼は。
I wonder if he really is the world #1 anymore. Oh dear.
上手くなってきてますね、E3。
Yeah, everyone here at E3 is really starting to get
Oh,
really
they still
good.
got it. What's up? Win bonus.
音楽に関してなんですけど、
お
これは
that's carrying it.
この世界の人たちが若者が聴いてるポップミュージックなんです。
So I want to talk a little about the music you're hearing, but the way we think about it, you know, the music in this game is basically the popular music of that game world. That's what these Squid Kids
What the
listen
squid?
to.
I actually noticed some of them have headphones on, so they're probably jamming out to that. Yeah.
これ放送を見てる人には音楽 BGM って聞こえるんですかね。
And I wonder if the people at home, can they hear the music?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that their audio feed ought to be showing it.
トレーラーのミュージックもそうなんですけど、すごくみんな気に入ってくれてて、僕らも喜んでます。
I mean, this is true for the trailer music as well, but it seems like everyone's having a really great reaction to it. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're really, really happy.
Yeah, I think we've used the upbeat music I think in the trailer, and that's mostly what you see here because everyone jumps right into the game. But the loading screen music while you're waiting for players to join is actually my favorite. It's sort of this like laid back reggae beat. Yeah.
マッチング画面のですね。
Yeah.
The matching screen, right?
Yeah. And they're just sitting waiting at home, ready for the match to start, you know, chilling with some reggae.
この、そのトレーラーとかで入ってるその掛け声はその任天堂のこのスプラトゥーンの女性スタッフがみんなでこう出した声でそれをサンプリングして使っています。
Oh, and you probably heard in the trailer music the voices yelling the title, Splatoon.
Yeah.
But that's actually the female members of the development staff. That's their voices.
all cheering? Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
声も一個二個男の声もちょっと混じってますけど。
Oh, and, well, there's a couple of male staff members in there too, I think.
Doing falsetto?
特にインクのべちゃべちゃする音にはめちゃめちゃこだわってサウンドのスタッフが作ってくれてます。
And also the sound staff, they put so much effort into like the wet noises of the ink getting sprayed around.
Yeah, I didn't mention it earlier, but it is awesome. You really feel like it's just goopy ink spraying everywhere.
スライムをこう叩きつけた音を使ってます。
Did you do experiments?
So we created that sound by we basically got some slime and then we just like pounded it. Yeah.
Oh my god. That's research. Hey, research,
Yeah.
we gotta buy some slime and
それぐらいこのインクを塗るっていうこのアクションの手応えにこだわってるんですよ。
Yeah, that's just how, you know, particularly we've been about making sure that spraying ink feels good.
yeah, well it definitely
が
does.
こうデコボコして見えると思うんですけども、これ一回塗ったところでももう一回塗るとまたデコボコが変わるんですよ。
Okay, and you can probably see that the ink is kind of bumpy. It's got a texture, but
Yeah.
depending on if it's like the first time that place has been inked or if it's like been inked
Whoa.
over from a different color, it changes.
でさらにこう塗ったインクの中
Oh,
を
it
イカ
gets,
になって
it's more of it?
で塗ったインクの中をイカになって進むとその跡が残ります。
And you'll notice that you actually leave a little bit of a trail if you swim through it.
Oh wow.
今作ってる製品版ではね、もっと良くなってますよ。
Yeah, and that's all going to look better in the final product.
Even better than that? Man. That already looks really good.
こういったようにサウンドのスタッフとかグラフィックのスタッフがとにかくこだわってこのアクションを気持ちよくしようと頑張ってますので、すごくいいものになっていると思っています。
I think it's all very much thanks to, you know, the sound staff and the graphics staff. They're very focused on making sure that all the actions just feel and look really, really great.
Yeah. Splatter. Hey, speaking, we were talking about the trailer earlier, and I actually wanted, we demoed a lot of this game yesterday because I'm in love with it, but since we have these guys here, I thought maybe we could pick their brain really quick about some details from the trailer that I have no idea what the answers are. So could they elaborate? We saw some different weapons in the trailer that we're not seeing here on the show floor. One was like a giant paint roller or something, and it seemed like there were a couple other weapons. Can you talk a little bit about what they are or how they factor into the game?
今はみんな同じ武器を使ってるんですけど、ローラーみたいにこう床を近くをたくさん塗れる武器だったり、こうチャージして撃つ遠くを狙えるような武器、いろいろ用意しています。
Yeah, so right now in the game we're playing, everyone's kind of using the same weapons, but we're also thinking of like this kind of big roller, kind of close quarters weapon that'll like spread a lot of ink around, and then a charge shot kind of weapon that can be used kind of like sniper. You know, it's for aiming for far off.
That's
people.
me. That's me.
プレイヤーはその日のステージと自分の取りたい戦略に合わせて武器を選べます。
And we hope people will like, select the weapons they want to use based on one, the map they're playing, but also the strategy that they want to take.
So is it that you select the weapon beforehand and then go in, or you find the weapon in the actual map?
Yeah, you select it first.
So you'll be like a sniper class or something like that. Oh, that's going to change the strategy quite a bit. We also saw a lot of different maps on the trailer, though, other than we're seeing here. Every time I saw one, I'm just like already analyzing like high ground and choke points, and like I need strategy. Oh. Yeah.
トレーラーには4つマップを載せてましたけど、他にもマップはたくさん用意しています。
So there were the 4 maps in the trailer, and then we're also planning on making a lot more.
A lot more.
この中にはイカでこう壁をどこまでも登っていくようなマップであったりとか、すごく高低差があってこのショットってこう重力で落ちるんで、それを生かした戦いができるようなマップも用意しています。
Yeah, so one idea for, some maps we might make in the future is to have one that's very much based on, using that climbing ability, having lots of different walls. But another we have is the idea of like having a stage that has lots of different differences in elevation because we're shooting ink, it has an arc, like gravity really affects it. So if you have a stage that has lots of high platforms and lots of low areas, that's really going to change how you play that stage.
Yeah.
マップに関しては毎日そのレベルデザインのスタッフがテストして地形を変えてはテストして変えてはテストしてを行っていて、日に日に良くなってます。でたまにそのテスト中に本気になりすぎて大声を上げて隣のチームに迷惑をかけてしまったりもあります。
Yeah, so our level design teams are just play testing the new maps every day over and over, like play them once, remake them, play them again.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get so into it, they just start yelling so much, and actually we get complaints from the development teams next door.
Yeah.
さっき敵がどういう風な動きをしてるとかがマップを見れば分かるって言ったんですけども、このメインの画面見ててもそれがよく分かります。
And we talked a little bit before about how if you look at the map screen, you can see, what the enemy is doing, but you can also get a good impression of that just from the main screen.
Yeah.
相手の色でここまで塗られてるということは敵がここまで攻めてきてるということです。
I mean, obviously, if you see your enemy's ink there, you know that they've made it that far and where they've been going.
相手のしぶきが上がっているということは相手がそこにいるということです。
Yeah, if you see a trail, or if you see, their sign, their jump sign, you know that they're coming there.
Yep.
もしかすると相手のインクの中には相手が潜んでいるかもしれません。
But you got to be careful because there might be an enemy hiding in, that ink color.
In that little ink color. Yeah, I know it's mind games, man. It's like I can't wrap my head around
it. You got to
it.
think a lot.
全部自分の色のインクに塗られている部屋の中にちょっとだけ相手の色があったらちょっと怖くないですか？
So here's something that might be kind of scary. What if you walk into this room and it's entirely painted in your color, except there's one little patch in the
you start
middle?
wondering.
Yeah.
ネイトさんはもう突っ込むと思うんですけど、僕は臆病なんで遠くから塗るんですけど、いつも敵がいない。
I mean, I think, Nate, you would probably just go charging in.
Yes, I probably would.
Mr. Sakaguchi, he's a little bit more cautious. He might stand back and try to shoot it from afar. But, it turns out a lot of times there's actually no one there and you reward for nothing.
You're just staring at this dot for like 10 minutes. I was scared of a splotch of paint.
この画面の状態を見てそんないろんなことを考えるんです。考えながら遊ぶっていうのがこのゲーム面白いです。
I think what's really interesting about this game is that, you just look at what's happening on screens and you have to think about so many different things while you're playing it.
Well, and I want to reiterate, watching Mr. Sato play, you see how smooth his movement is? That's because he's fine-tuning with the gyro. I mean, when I play, and I encourage anybody at E3 to switch this control up and check it out for themselves. When you play with just dual analog, it's so much jerkier that you just don't have that fine control as you go around a corner to pan or pan up or pan down. I think I can't play without it.
ちょっと誤解があったみたいなんですけど、ジャイロだけで操作するわけではありません。スティックとのハイブリッドです。
And I think people may have been confused, and we already touched on this a little bit, but you know, people were thinking that it's just controls of the gyro, but really it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
You know, you're using the right stick and
totally.
the gyros.
Yeah, the big movements on the stick and then the fun. Yeah.
壁の上に敵がいるとしますね。この自分の目の前の壁の上に敵がいるとします。
So let's say, you know, maybe there's a platform and a wall, and there's up on the platform there's an enemy there.
Yeah.
この時こういう風に塗った後、イカで壁を登るんですけど、その時にカメラをすごく上下に動かします。
So if you were to like, you know, paint that wall and climb up it and then get to the top, you'd have to, you know, moving the camera very, you know, a lot
Yeah.
in up and down, right?
下を向いてこうジャンプしながら下を打つみたいなアクション。これはジャイロセンサーがないとスティックとボタンではなかなか難しい操作だと思います。
So one cool thing you can do is, you know, you scoot up that wall, you kind of jump out of the ink, and then you look down and you shoot the guy.
While you're coming down.
Yeah, and that's something you can really only do
That's awesome.
because you got these precision gyro controls.
Yeah, just like that.
He just did it.
Yeah. Sato-san is a
プレイ
pro.
ヤーの性能とすごくマッチした操作系になってます。
So it's definitely a control style that very much, you know, fits the abilities that you're given in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think once you put your hands on it, it just feels second nature.
ゲームでアピールしたいポイントはまずこのインクを塗るっていうアクションの気持ちよさ、それからルールの分かりやすさ、もう何が起こっているかっていうのを画面を見たらすぐ分かる。
I mean, I think, you know, things that we really want to focus on, or the two main things we really want to focus on is just, one, how good it feels to shoot the ink
Yeah.
around, and then two, how easy it is to understand what's happening, what
Yeah.
the rules are.
最後にDR ゲームパッドを生かした快適な操作です。
And then, you know, on top of that, you know, the controls that, you know, make really great use of the gamepad and how good those feel.
But I can't believe I didn't notice the texture thing about ink that's been painted over the other ink. That's really awesome.
Wonder who won.
No way,
That's
that's blue.
close.
That's got to be blue. Yeah. Bad guys. That was pretty close, though.
Too bad.
You know, that actually just reminded me, and I'm glad I remembered to ask this before we ran out of time. The other thing I saw in the trailer that I haven't seen here, there was one moment where it was like a faucet from above. Like, what was that? That
あれですよね。あれは今は竜巻型の武器しかないんですけども、画面右上のゲージを貯めて発動する特殊能力のうちの一つです。
So, I mean, you've probably seen that kind of like tornado-like super weapon.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the one that, you know, once that gauge builds up, you can press the right stick to use.
Yeah, totally.
スーパーウェポンは塗る能力に限らず仲間をサポートしたりとかタッチパネルを使ったアクションを必要としたりとかいろいろなものを用意する予定です。
So, what you saw was one of the super weapons that we're preparing that you'll be able to switch in, but we're trying to think of lots of different things, you know, not just things that for attacking, things that could be used for, you know, helping out your teammates. Things that could be used for moving around the map. So yeah, we're definitely thinking of lots of different options for that,
cool.
that gauge and that super weapon.
That one seemed pretty nasty.
プレイヤーが自分の姿をカスタマイズすることができるんですけども、それによってそういういろんな武器を選択することができるんですよ。
And that's also part of, you know, the ability you're going to have to customize your player. You're going to be able to customize all sorts of things to them, and one of those things is going to be, you know, their loadout, the super weapon.
So your pre-match is I'm going to take this super weapon, this main weapon, I'm going to go out. All right, my appearance, goggles, headphones.
Yeah.
Can I pick my hairstyle, my tentacle hairstyle? Like I can have the pigtails or the top knot?
そこは考えてる途中です。
We're thinking about it.
あれは彼女のチャームポイントなのでなかなかあそこを変えるのは難しいかもしれません。
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we really like about those characters. So yeah, changing it might be difficult. But
Oh,
we'll see.
no. I want to keep the tentacles, but like some of them have top knots and some of them have pigtails. You know, it's like, should I tie, you know?
ちなみにスキッドボーイと同じ髪型にして、
Mr. Sakaguchi has the same haircut,
Yeah.
same hairstyle as the Squid Boy today. So
It's good. One of the things I was actually seeing him do this earlier. We saw Eric Smith has actually learned this technique that I saw Mr. Sato doing, where he is jumping from puddle to puddle instead of leaving a trail. It's like he's sort of sneaking around by shooting just a little blob in front of him and jumping through it.
なんか佐藤さんがやってるみたいにしたなんか道を残さないでただなんかインクからなんか飛んでなんか移動してるみたいですね。
だからインクを打つことで縄張りを広げることもできるんですけど相手にバレちゃうかもしれないんですね。だからそういう時はインクをたどっていって仲間の残してくれた道をたどって相手の懐に飛び込むみたいな行動も取れます。
So yeah, I mean that's definitely kind of what the other strategic things about this is because if you're just spraying a bunch of ink around, you'll also you'll be found out. People are going to know exactly where you are. But if you kind of have that like little path or like that little like kind of stepping stone thing, that's something you can use to get into the enemy base.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That got pretty hairy.
佐藤さんが気がついて急いで戻ったんですけどちょっと間に合いませんでした。
Yeah, Mr. Sato realized what was happening and tried to get back in time, but it was too late.
I never think about that mid-match where it's like the fight, everyone's closing in. It's like you can launch out of there. You can launch back to your base. You can bail out.
だからいい気になって敵陣に攻め込みすぎると自分の陣地が塗られてるかもしれないんでマップをやっぱりたまには確認した方がいいですね。
Yeah, I mean, if you get too into it, you're just going straight for an enemy base. They might be in your base, so it's like you got to make sure you're always looking at the map and see what's going on.
Check constantly. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm not good at that. I get too into. I mean, I'm in full panic mode most of the time when I'm running around on the front lines. It's just like there's somebody shooting at me. It is important though. In like if you're shooting bullets, you don't see people around you, but the visual of the ink. Where you can actually see somebody around a corner because you can actually see the spray of the ink. It really becomes a big part of the strategy.
今みたいにお互いが攻めてきた時にも相手がどこまで来てるっていうのがもう相手の色が塗られてきてることで分かるんです。
Yeah, and then when you've got two people coming together or coming right at each other, the ink is also what allows you to see like how far they're coming, exactly where they are.
Yeah, yeah.
道を作って前線まで早く駆け上がろうとみんなするんですけども相手が向こうから迫ってくるの見えてるんです。
I mean, I think when most people start playing this game, the first thing they do is they think, all right, I'm going to create a path and get to the front as quickly as possible. But your enemy can see exactly what you're doing too.
Yeah.
この部屋の下を見たときにどっちが優勢かっていうのは一目でわかりますよね。
And another great thing about the ink is like, when you saw you just came around the corner and like looked down into that big plaza, just at one look you can see, all right, who has control of this room?
Yeah, totally. All right, well, we're just about out of time. I'm actually going to have to throw it back down there. I can't thank you guys enough for coming out here and giving us the hot details. Yeah.
They can't believe it.
Yeah, not only for showing us advanced techniques, but being able to get your insight on the trailer and give people a little bit more information is really, really crucial. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to go and show you some Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate after this, after a short break. So we'll see you on the other side. Thanks again, guys. Thank you. Thanks.